Welcome to Ponchatoula Live. I'm your host, Parker Layrisson, and today I've got a great guest. We've got Kevin and Stacy McKlveen of the Ponchatoula Pepper Company. Now, these are two of my favorite people in town. I've gotten a chance to know them a little bit through the years. Their family sits kind of near my family at church, and I've seen them raise their two wonderful kids, their daughter and son. And their son actually won a bike in our Bikes for Kids program. And it's just a wonderful family with a really cool business. The Ponchatoula Pepper Company is one of the best success stories we have here in our local small business community. And my law firm and my wife and I were very happy to give away Ponchatoula Pepper Company gift baskets at Christmas this year, and everybody who received them loved them. So I can't wait to learn more today about the couple behind that business and about their process and their success story. And I'm sure they'll share with candor all the steps along the way. So with no further ado, I bring to you Stacy and Kevin McKlveen. Stacy, Kevin, welcome to the show.
Hey, Parker.
Great to be here.
Thank y'all for being with me. Why don't we begin with you guys just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I grew up in Mississippi, actually on the Gulf Coast in Long Beach. And then I moved over here back in about 96 to go to the radiology program at North Oaks. And I've been here ever since. So,
very cool.
Yeah.
Now, is that where you met your bride when you came here for radiology school? Or are you, Stacy, are you native to the area? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yes, I was born and raised in Hammond, so I didn't move far. Graduated in 97 from Hammond High.
We won't hold that against you. You were smart enough to cross the creek and come down.
You can't help where your parents live. And poor Kevin, he had no idea when he said, I think I'm going to date this girl, but he was going to be stuck in Louisiana for a while. But I think it was the best thing.
I think it worked out.
Yeah.
You got Hey, it was worth the trip, Kevin. You and I both. They say we've outkicked our coverage, right? We have brides that are way out of our leagues, and we're smart enough to know it. We are going to circle back a little later to your love story because I'm sure there's kind of more to it, and I'm eager to hear that. But before we do, Kevin, tell us a little bit about key differences you kind of see between your life growing up in coastal Mississippi as a kid and your life now as a dad raising kids here in Ponchatoula.
I mean, things have definitely changed a lot since I was a kid. I grew up in the pre-internet age, pre-phone age. So basically, that they kicked us outside and then we didn't come back until the streetlights came on. So
Same here.
Totally different. It's been challenging, I'll say that.
How big was the town you grew up in? Like population wise, was it big?
I mean, it was probably about the size of Ponchatoula when we initially moved here 20 years ago.
Right.
It's definitely grown now.
Mm-hmm. And Stacy, for you, growing up in Hammond, what was life like for you as a kid? Did you guys live in town? I mean, clearly that's a bigger city, but it's also not Manhattan. What was your childhood like up there?
Well, I grew up within walking distance of the Southeastern campus.
Oh, wow.
I was very fortunate enough to go to the SLU laboratory school all through ACE. And then it was culture shock from tiny private school to huge public school at Hammond High. So that was an interesting 4 years.
Tell us about that. What was that transition like? And because I experienced something similar coming from itty bitty St. Joseph with my 20 classmates I'd known for 9 years to the giant PHS that we all know and love. What was that like for you going to Hammond High coming from the lab school?
Well, you learn how to toughen up quite quickly.
Prepared you for the hard-nosed business of retail and supermarket, roughhousing and whatnot you may be facing these days with your pepper company. Folks, we're here with Kevin and Stacy McKlveen, the owners of the Ponchatoula Pepper Company. We're kind of joking about their childhood, but before we get too much into their story, I just want to share they've got a family member who's come on here to comment. Kisa, your aunt and uncle say they love you so much. So, Kisa, thank you for joining the show, for watching your family members on here. To anyone else who may be watching live, know that we have the ability to include your comment here. So if you've got a question about our guests, about the Ponchatoula Pepper Company, about flavors coming soon. I mean, that's one of the cool things about this company is each year they seem to come out with some new product that we love and can't live without. Feel free to comment below and I'll do my best to include it here on the program. But circling back to, your stories here, we talk about the transition into high school. What was the next chapter in your story? And Stacy, we'll start with you and then Kevin, circle back to you. Where'd you go next once you got out of Hammond High?
Well, let's see. It was a long time ago. I went to work for the Livingston Public Defender's Office.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and during that time, I decided to go to BRC to complete a paralegal course, which I did. And after working in a few law offices, a few years into that, I thought, I did enjoy the action of the courtroom. I loved that. But the everyday office life was a lot. And I knew one day that I really, in my heart, my big dream was to be a wife and a mom. And that full-time job was really put a damper on that. So fast forward a few years later, I decided to take a different.
Well, I hope we're not giving you PTSD, putting you back in a room full of law books there. I didn't know about that part of your background.
I may take a few on the way out, for old time's sake. And I did enjoy it. I learned a lot, but it was time to move on. And my goal was to become my own boss and make my own schedule. So I decided to go to the Aveda Institute in Covington. And I graduated there, I think, in 2001. And I became a manicurist, and I've been doing that ever since. Cool. And I had some lifelong loyal clients that have all become my friends. So it's been quite a blessing, and it has allowed me the freedom now to homeschool. So I can work from home. I can, be the mom, the wife that I'm supposed to be, and as well as help with this crazy wild pepper company.
So you're wearing a lot of hats there: wife, mother, teacher, and several, before we even get into several professions simultaneously. So that's really exciting. My mom's got kind of a similar story in that she started out her career in legal staffing in Baton Rouge and wanted to, have a family, and she ended up staying home with us 4 wild boys. And I know she kind of felt similarly. She was really grateful for her days in the law firm, but at the same time, happy to be able to move home with us and kind of change her focus. Kevin, what about you? Did you go straight from high school over here to Hammond to radiology school, or was there another chapter in between we don't know about?
It was pretty much. I worked a few years at actually Hancock Bank over in Gulfport, the main branch there. So did that worked in the mailroom in Hancock Bank.
That was pre-Hancock Whitney, right? When Hancock was a standalone outfit, right?
Yeah, that was probably 28 years ago, something like that. It's been quite a while.
Wow.
Yeah. But from there, moved over here, went to North Oaks, the radiology program. And I've been in the radiology field, I still am, for the past 24 years.
Okay. And you work now in Baton Rouge area, is that right?
I do. Work full-time in Baton Rouge and also another part-time job in Baton Rouge.
Oh,
and
wow.
then this other full-time job making pepper jelly.
So, wow, both of you are really, you guys don't sleep.
It doesn't feel
Wow. Well, we've got several more comments coming here I want to share with you. And one I noticed is an old high school mate of mine, I think. Renee Ballet Chauvin says that the two of you are amazing people, and she is so excited for your success. What a sweetheart she is. And Renee, so good to see you on here. Noel Guillaume says that's your cousin. That's cool. Is that Noel or Noel? Forgive me, folks. I'm terrible with names. I will often butcher them, and for that, I give you apologies. Lynn Springer says that they love all your flavors, and they do make dressings for different dishes and sends hugs and kisses. Dana Moreno Bro says that the Revival Art House loves your pepper jelly, and she's throwing y'all some whoop whoop. Mandy Franks Braywick, wonderful woman there. She says she loves your pepper jelly. And speaking of great moms there, I know she's a great mom. And she says she loves when you come to Revival House, and to please bring more jelly. Wow, these comments are just flowing in. You guys might be setting an early show record. We're only 10 minutes in, and the love is just flowing freely. Sean McWater says she loves the success story of a local family business, and has a question here. So maybe you can answer this question. Where do you see the business going relative to the next step? So we haven't really gotten into the history of the Ponchatoula Pepper Company, and I promise we'll circle back to that and ask you all about your offerings. But before we get there, what about Sean's question? Where do you see your business going in the future?
I want to continue growing, adding additional products, and I would love to see something local, like a commercial kitchen locally where we could produce, and also
great idea,
help guide other people, if they have ideas, how to bring that to market. Since we've been there, done that, and learned what the process is, we could share that information with other people.
That would be great. And you two are so good on camera. We could see that already. You guys could do cooking shows. I'm seeing all kinds of spinoffs here because you don't have enough going on, right? You've only got 3 or 4 jobs each, with 2 kids and homeschooling. Yeah. Well, Sean, thank you for that great question. Another one of my favorite people, and speaking of great local food, Trisha Nicholas. My 2 boys just love. They loved her before she opened a sweet shop, and now she's like the Willy Wonka of Ponchatoula.
Yes,
right. But she says that she loves your pepper jelly, and you are amazing people. Annette McWaters, I'm not even going to try to get that maiden name. Sorry, Annette. I couldn't even handle Noel or Noel earlier, so forgive me for just skipping over that. She says that she loves the Ponchatoula Pepper Company, and she sends it all the way to New York, D.C., Tulsa. So, you guys are really national at this point. And of course, she loves you and your children. So tell us about that. Where has the Ponchatoula Pepper Company gone? Because we're learning here, you're 3 parts of the country. Where do you know that, the far reaches of your company? Where's it been?
I mean, we've shipped to California, Texas, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, Washington, D.C. I mean, just all over the place. It always surprises me. Like, where did they even hear about us? I know we're on Facebook, but I didn't realize it traveled that far, I guess.
That's so cool.
We had an opportunity to meet. They just recently moved from California to Long Beach, Mississippi, and we evacuated for Ida and at Kevin's brother's house, and they live in Long Beach as well. So we got an order during all of this, and we were able to hand deliver it because, well, there we were.
Oh, I was going to say, how do you fulfill an order during a hurricane evacuation? That seems impossible.
During that back and forth, come up, cleaning time and bringing supplies, and we just said, oh, well, we'll just bring a few extra supplies. So yeah, that was pretty neat. You just never know where people hear from you, and it just keeps going. It's great.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, is this your brother Chris, or do you have multiple brothers?
My brother Chris.
Okay, so Chris is commenting here, and he says he's very proud of the 2 of you, and you're his favorite brother. So if you have other brothers,
I'm glad you
not watching. That kind of reminds me, the big joke at my house is who's the favorite son. I've got 3 brothers, so I'm the second of 4 boys, and I actually went in and hacked into my mom and dad's phone. And so when I call, it will come up Parker, favorite son, Layrisson. And I always make it a point when my brothers come in from out of town to call over there when I know that they'll be next to mom or dad so they can see that. So I love a little sibling rivalry, a little brotherly love, if you will. It's good to see the McKlveen boys throwing down with that. So why don't we talk about that? Growing up, siblings, what was that like? Clearly you and your brother have a close relationship. Has that always been the case, or did you grow up like me and our chief of police fist fighting every day? What was life like for the McKlveen
I think
boy?
we used to fight quite a bit growing up, but
What's the age difference between y'all?
it's only 2 years.
Okay.
So
Same as me and Bree. Okay. Cool. And what about you, Stacy? Did you have siblings?
Yes, I had two brothers, both older. One lives in Ranger with three beautiful children, and his sweet wife Melissa. And we try to see them as often as possible, but unfortunately, it's not as often as we would like. And then
It's tough, even when you're just down the street. Bree and I only live a few blocks away from one another, and it's hard when you're both busy with kids.
Right, chasing kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I have a brother, David, who he passed away, 5 years ago, just about.
So sorry for your loss. That has to be tough.
Years old. So he was a chef. He would be so proud of what we have going on here today.
I bet he would love your idea of bringing a commercial kitchen to Ponchatoula. We were talking off air before the show, and this community is so special, and it supports so many wonderful things, and it's great to see the rise of the artistic community here, and with Twin Steeples and all this stuff that's going on downtown. We've had artists on the show. They're doing great things for artists here, but certainly Ponchatoula has a passion for the culinary arts. Certainly folks like me love to eat, and plenty like you love to create. So wouldn't it be neat if you didn't have to go to Baton Rouge to create your product, if you had all the infrastructure here? I love that idea that the two of you shared. Why don't we take a moment to kind of step back and talk about the origin of the Ponchatoula Pepper Company, and then you can tell us about how you operate and where you make your products, and go with that. But first, let's just start with the idea. Whose idea was this? Where did it come from?
It really just started with, I kind of had a love of hot sauces. So I would order hot sauces from all over the place, and I decided that I wanted to try making my own hot sauces. So I kind of was tinkering around with that and sharing that with people, and they were enjoying it. And then I had just bought way too many jalapenos at one point.
There's an abundance of jalapenos.
I was like, what can I do with these jalapenos?
I love the look on your wife's face there, Kevin. She had, it was that perfect blend of patience for a husband she loves, and a realization of how much that you're right. You had too many peppers, but please proceed.
So, I ended up searching, what can I do with all these peppers? So I came to the jalapeno recipe. So that was my first, foray into that type of thing. So I made those and, kind of gave them out to a few different people to try, and they were loving them. So I started making more. Our neighbor actually had tried some and decided she wanted to order a couple cases of them for Christmas.
So who's that? Let's give a shout out to the first commercial patron of the Ponchatoula Pepper Company.
Yes, she deserves a huge shout out because she is an amazing woman in our area as well. Sherry Hewen.
Okay.
She actually owns and operates the SOAR Center for Autism.
Cool. Yeah, great organization. Yeah.
Yes, she's amazing. And she once owned a restaurant, so we were excited about her feedback and her enthusiasm. And I tell her all the time, and we're still neighbors. We live across the street from each other, and occasionally they'll come over and get a little pepper jelly. And I tell her, I said, you started all this.
That's great. That's great. She deserves credit. So Kevin, you're telling me the story. You basically have an abundance of peppers, and you got to do something with it, because from the look on Stacy's face, she's tired of eating your hot sauce. You got to come up with a plan B. This wonderful neighbor makes an order, and where's it go from there?
So from there, I'm blaming this on her. So she decided to post on Facebook about all this, and it just kind of took off from there. We started getting orders coming in left and right. So, so we just started producing more and more candy jalapenos. And then at some point, somebody asked, well, what about pepper jelly? Have you ever made pepper jelly before? It's like, well, I've never made any kind of jelly in my life, but I can certainly give it a try.
And now you've got all these offerings. If you don't mind, I'm going to bring up I'm going to try to bring up your website. And so, folks, if you can see this here, this is ponchipepper.com. PONCHYPEPPER.com. And the Ponchatoula Pepper Company, as you can see, has a great website where you can shop right here online. So we've got the original pepper jelly, blackberry jelly, orange jelly. You mentioned candied jalapenos, which has been one of your mainstays, which I'm sure is on a different page. Tell us, if you will, about the evolution of your menu, because like you said, it all started with candied jalapenos, having some leftovers from your hot sauce. But, what was the order, the baton order? And have you had failed products along the way? Tell us about the different thing you've offered and what people like and what they make with it, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so really haven't had any failed products yet. We start with the candied jalapenos, and then the pepper jellies. Those were the very first two products that we did.
Okay.
And then somebody had given me just a ton of, I think it was mandarin oranges or something like that at one point. So I was like, well, let me try making some kind of jelly out of that. So that's kind of the beginning of the orange jelly. And then somebody had asked about blackberries. So that's kind of where that came from. I know we should have probably started with strawberry, being Ponchatoula, but it's actually
that's the beauty. You build up the hype. Everybody's waiting for it, so you've always got that in your back pocket. So like when it comes time to pay for college for those kiddos in a few years, that's when you drop the strawberry. You got a cash cow.
I'm actually working on the strawberry for this year.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I see here, and I've shared with our viewers that you have recipes on here. We've got the pepper jelly vinaigrette, candied jalapeno dip. I mean, these bacon wrapped shrimp with pepper jelly glaze. I'm salivating as I speak here. So cool, man. This is really, really neat. Lettuce wraps. So when did you guys know that this hobby of yours, Kevin, this passion for peppers, if you will, which had turned into something where you could, unload your peppers on neighbors and friends on Facebook and at least break even. When did y'all know you had a viable business, and what did you do to take that next step?
We started out at farmers markets. So I think when we started going there, it really started, once people tried it. I think that's the main thing. If people try it, they want it. They want to buy it. It's just getting them to try it. Yeah. So the farmers markets really helped with that, and that's where a lot of repeat customers came from. So once we started making the regular pepper jelly and the candied jalapenos, I had shared that with one of the PhDs that works with me over at Pennington Biomedical in Baton Rouge. And once he tried it, he was like, "This is great. I think we can really, make this into something if you want to partner up and do something." I was like, I would love to. I'd love to take it to the next level. So that's kind of where that started.
And I know you eventually ended up with local retailers. I mean, now it's sold everywhere. We can get into that. But, Tricia, who we mentioned earlier, comments here that Tula Berry Sweets will carry any and everything y'all have. So I know when we go, my boys, we just live a few blocks away. So when we head in there for ice cream or candy or whatever, we see your stuff on the shelves. How did you break into local retail shops? Now you're in big supermarkets. What's that journey been like?
Yeah, so really it's just about, it is a journey. Going around talking to retailers, leaving samples, and then just following up. It is a lot of work. We're working on talking with other local distributors as well, because right now we are producing and delivering most of our inventory ourselves, which is a lot. So we're trying to at least unburden ourselves of the delivery aspect.
Well, you may have made a mistake by coming on the show, because I think you're getting sales as you speak. Mandy's back, and she says she'd love to talk to y'all about gift baskets for closing with her clients. She's a very successful realtor in the area. And so I'm sure she'd love to drop those on new homeowners and, people who buy real estate. And I can tell you, our clients that have received them have loved them. So they do make great gifts. She is not alone. Kathy Marie says that she loves your pepper jelly, and it's extremely addictive. So that's absolutely true. And last week's guest, Pamela Evans White, so good to see you back, Pam. She and her daughter have been on the show. And she says, late, what do they sell? Pam, this is the family that owns the Ponchatoula Pepper Company. So we're talking pepper jelly, candied jalapenos. You can go to their website, ponchipepper.com. I'll try to post that in the comments down below. Maybe if one of our viewers who's watching live would be kind enough to do that, I'd appreciate it. But I'll promise to follow up and do it if no one has the time to. But thank you for tuning in. Last week's great guest is back to watch again this week, and that's neat. Justin Sharp says he's really enjoying this story, that you guys are great guests, and he will be picking up Ponchatoula Pepper Jelly next time he goes shopping. So we've got lots of love here for Kevin and Stacy. We're learning about the Ponchatoula Pepper Company, but I did promise at the top of the hour that we were going to dig deep and delve into your love story. So let's go back and tell me a little bit about how y'all met and how you hit it off. And, Kevin, how'd you get the courage to ask this beautiful woman to be your date and eventually your bride? Tell us a little bit about, your background and your love story, if you don't mind.
So we kind of met. It's like a friend of a friend. It was like a group date situation.
Gotcha. Kind of a setup type deal.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Was it a setup? Did somebody have a plan to matchmake you guys? Or
I think it was kind of a setup. Yeah. Yeah. So I remember her walking in with her glasses on, looking all smart with her.
She had that intellectual look going with the glasses. I love Hermione Granger style, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so we had that kind of get together date there,
and what was the setting? Was this a barbecue? Where were you guys?
It was like a restaurant.
We went to the Pepper Tree. That's how long ago it was. Do you remember the Pepper Tree?
No, do I? And the Ponchatoula Pepper Company was born at the Pepper Tree.
The Pepper Tree.
This is and we're talking PhDs in Pennington. It's a tongue twister here. There's all these P's with Parker. I mean, come on, this is just wild. So nice, safe, neutral location, so somebody thought y'all would be a good match, but they didn't trust you enough, Kevin, to bring you to Stacy's house and let you know where she lived. I got it. No, I'm joking, of course, folks, but I was kind of in a similar kind of setup deal where one of Brandy and my mutual friends introduced us at the Strawberry Festival, and so that's neat. So you see this beautiful girl in glasses. Stacy, you see this tall, dashing guy. Y'all kind of hit it off. Where does it go from there?
So from there, I'm not sure exactly how long ago or how far after that date it was, but I called her up, asked her if she wanted to go out, and she said yes. And
nice.
Here we are.
The rest is history. Here we are. All these years, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, Kevin. I could say, well, how long you been married, and that would get you into trouble if you got it wrong. So we're going to skip right over that.
He's much better at that than I am, to be honest. I actually had it engraved in both our rings, but mostly because I'm forgetful.
Yeah, so you got to take it off and look in there and make sure you got it right. Yeah, that's not good deal. Well, that's really cool. That's a wonderful story, and I'm glad, because there'd be no Ponchatoula Pepper Company if Pepper Tree hadn't made that connection for us. And Kevin probably would not have stayed around. He'd probably head back to go, wrestle with his brother in Mississippi. We've got several folks here, Kathy, Danny Lynn, etc., who have shared not only your Facebook page for the Pepper Company, but also your website. So, folks, if you're interested in ordering from the Ponchatoula Pepper Company, please check the comments below. You'll find a link that you see posted here to the website where you can order right there. And even though Stacy and Kevin said they want to slow down, they're busy parents with multiple other jobs. Let's keep them busy. I'd love to see them not sleep till February. So let's let's order some pepper jelly if we will. So that's neat. So the two of y'all meet, you hit it off. What Kevin, as being an out of towner, what were your impressions of Ponchatoula when you got here? Because, Stacy grew up right up the road. Of course, she rooted against us on Fridays. We'll forgive her for that. But, beyond the Friday Night Light rivalries and whatnot, she knew Ponchatoula probably for what it was. But for you crossed state lines. So what were kind of your first impressions? And if you will, compare that to maybe what you think now that you've had an opportunity to live here for a few decades.
So actually, I kind of grew up a little bit in the Hammond area as well. I had family over here.
Oh, okay.
Come over here and visit.
Gotcha.
During the summers. Actually, my family lived not too far down the road from where she was growing up.
Come on. So,
Yeah.
but did your families know each other? Did y'all piece back later that you had connections, or was it not really
I
that
don't think
intertwined?
so.
Okay.
I don't think they did.
No.
Cool. Cool. So you kind of had a lay of the land before you got here. Um, but both of you, one thing I'll notice, you both had connections to Hammond, but you chose to come here to Ponchatoula to raise your kids, to lead your life. What went into that decision? Could you share a little bit of the why and how you decided to come down, across the creek?
Well, actually, the main reason we decided to move to Ponchatoula was for the school system. We heard
Okay.
how great the school system was in Ponchatoula.
Which is surprising to me because I know that you homeschool your kids. So that must have been a while ago. And, maybe you didn't have the opportunity at that time yet to homeschool. What's the story there?
You never know what God is going to give you, and each child is different. So we tried different schooling systems, and if you have any type of learning disability, which mine struggle with dysgraphia and dyscalculia as well as dyslexia, it is quite the challenge. And sometimes I can be a little stubborn and I just want to take matters into my own hands. So what I did.
Mm-hmm.
You remind me so much of my wife. But yeah, that makes perfect sense. So the school system drew you here, but obviously that's not, at this point a requirement if you're homeschooling. Have you just kind of fallen in love with the community? Is that why you've decided to stay, or have you just kind of not gotten around to looking for real estate in the old Hammond neighborhood? What's the future hold for you there?
I don't think we have any plans on moving. I don't have any plans on moving.
This is our home, and
it is.
I still have family here. We're not very far from his family.
Right.
Until about 5 years ago, my grandmother, who I was very close to, actually lived 2 miles down the road from me. So that was such a blessing.
What a blessing!
And we've just become, I always thought, our neighborhood that we were just neighbors by chance, but I really think that was a greater plan. And now, we're just family. I just can't imagine not being where we are in this community.
It's so tough to beat great neighbors. We live next to Cullen and Michelle Sellers, and they've got 4 great kids. And, it's just, it breaks my heart to think that we won't always live by them possibly. It's tough to beat. We had great neighbors growing up on 7th Street and have them now living on 8th Street. And it's a wonderful blessing if you're lucky enough to have it. Let's talk about people in your life here in the community, if you will. Who have been influences on you? This can be people who have helped you in your business, guided you as parents. They can be mentors in your faith walk. Anything you want to talk about. But who are some of the people in your life here in Ponchatoula that you're grateful for, that you're glad God's placed in your life?
Well, gosh, I could go on all day. I think every person has made an impact, and every person you come across, you meet for a reason, even if you don't know it at the time. As far as the Ponchatoula Pepper Company is concerned, we became friends through a cooking class with the Rojos, with Chef Matthias and Rachel Rojo.
Oh, wow. What great folks they are. Yeah. And I know great supporters of your business because you're in their dressings, and you've played a big part in their incredible success with their wonderful people.
And they really are. They are a blessing. They're an inspiration. We both had some major tragedies in our life, not very far apart from each other. So that was also, some common ground that we could support each other and be there and learn from each other. I was really inspired by, when life knocks you down, you just get back up in spite of being sore and in pain and physically and mentally, and just, you just have to get up because there's a greater plan. I think that God has created us for something that we can't even begin to imagine. So we just have to get up and do the work. And that is one thing that the Rojos have presented, as well as suggesting that we go to the farmers markets and start there and really promote. He believed in what we had, and he believed in who we were, who we are, to be able to to continue and make this grow. And I mean, Kevin worked so hard, and there are many times, as many doors have closed, we've had every opportunity to say, I can't do this anymore. But as many doors have closed, God has opened even better ones.
That's true.
We could never have done any of that on our own.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned him, because he's not only a fixture of this community. I mean, his pizza's incredible. Their family's just wonderful. I mean, you're just amazing people. But it's kind of funny because he and I have been struggling to get a date to work for him to be on the show. And we had the same challenge with you guys. We even moved it a day. So it's kind of like, you guys share that one more thing in common. You probably didn't know. You're two of the toughest families to book in Ponchatoula. But it's because you're in such high demand, right? Everybody wants your pepper jelly, his pizza, et cetera. And so that's kind of funny. I didn't even know the connection beyond the fact that obviously you guys, share stuff with them. But that's really cool. I've got a question coming in here from Mandy, and she says, do y'all ever plan on just working at the Ponchatoula Pepper Company exclusively? If you ever think about quitting your day jobs, in your case, Kevin, 3 of them.
I mean, I would love to, it's just a matter of growing it to that level to where I could make that transition. So
sure.
That's what I'm working toward. It may take a long time, but
yeah,
I'm
very cool.
working toward that.
You seem to have a passion for it and a really good entrepreneurial spirit. Sherry Beal has jumped on here to say she loves your pepper jelly too. This is so fun to see so many people be positive about something that Ponchatoula is producing. You guys have clearly created something special. What do you think? And I'm not asking here for literal secret sauce. Your recipes are your proprietary, but what do you think is the figurative secret sauce that's led to the success of your company? I mean, if you look back and somebody just asked you, somebody said, hey, I'm in your old hometown in Mississippi and I want to start up let's say near your own hometown, the Pascagoula Pepper Company or something. And I promise I want, what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to do what you've done? And in terms of helping them avoid any mistakes, if you've made any, what few they may be, or really just get a feel for the success secrets. What advice would you share with someone who's looking to follow in your path?
So many things. It definitely takes determination. I mean, there's so many days where you just wake up and you're like, why am I doing this? I don't want. This is so much work. I feel drained. And then other days you wake up and you're like, this is the best thing I've ever done. I can't wait to grow this even more. So I think it's just a determination to get past the hard days and just keep looking forward.
Mm-hmm. Stacy, would you agree, or would there anything you'd like to add to that?
Absolutely, because in what was it, 2018 when this began, it was a sacrifice in many ways, but it was also a nice change for us to do something together that we both enjoyed.
Right.
We were bonding, and then was feeling a little guilty because the kids weren't able to be with us. But then as things changed, farmers markets, they came along. It was a big homeschool day.
Right.
Now my son can come and cook in the kitchen with us. So that's you just gotta hold out for the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. Persevere. Well, let's talk about the kids. Do they get into it? I mean, is the Pepper Company something that's like, oh gosh, more jalapenos, Dad, or are they starting to get into helping? I mean, how does that work? Is there allowance tied to helping with the Pepper Company? Because it's a true family business, right? It started there in the home. What's that dynamic like when you add the kids to the mix?
I mean, they're doing a lot of free labor, yes.
Now work those muscles.
Absolutely. Good deal. Well, look, I promised you guys, because I know you're such great dedicated parents, I promised you we get out of here around 6, and I'm going to try to keep my word there. So we're near the end here. But before we go, is there anything else on your mind, on your heart, etc.? Anything else you want to share with our viewers before we go?
I was just going to say that, I feel like every time things in the business look like, maybe it can't progress past a certain point, I think God opens up another door for us and just, gives us a way. So I would definitely say that our faith has helped us along with this business.
Amen. Stacy, anything to add before we go?
I think he said it all.
Well, I know he's sincere. I see you guys in church. We were together, in a course this past weekend, Stacy, learning about how to share Jesus with our kids and talk to kids about Jesus. And I know that you're sincere, Kevin, when you talk about your faith. And it's so cool to see the two of you there holding hands, presumably as in love as the day you met. And to see your company coming together and succeeding is really special to our community, especially because you led with Ponchatoula, right? You could have named this thing anything in the world, but wherever you succeed, our little town does too. And that's special. And that's why I'm going to echo here our last comment that we received. Dawn says that she loves this family and their pepper jelly. And I think that she's spoken for all of Ponchatoula when she says that. So to our wonderful guests, Stacy and Kevin, thank you for sharing with us tonight, sharing your story, your success, your time. We really appreciate it. And to our guests, whether you're watching live or on replay, thank you for taking the time to watch the show. Ponchatoula Live will be back next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.